Life is a miracle. That you are even alive is a miracle. You get one life, so live it as best you can, lass. That's what it is to be a dwarf, striving for perfection. I get a lot of human clients ask me, why does it take so long? Can't you rush it? I tell them it takes as long as it takes. They don't like that. But time is part of the price of quality, and you can't skimp on quality, especially with the work we do. I got my start as a metal worker, and back then we got orders for a lot of poleaxes, back before the muskets really took over. I mostly did officer work or for elites, because I could not bear to churn out cheap shite. Oh, they wanted quantity, and they got it, on account of we'd put a whole slew of dwarves on the job, but they paid for quality as well. You see, we didn't cut corners. We didn't put out shite. The humans wouldn't have known if we had. Their standards are so fucking low. But I would. I'd carry the knowledge that I did crap work with me to my grave, and it'd be nestling with my bones for eternity. I'm not saying that you should dwell on every mistake, every apprentice piece or substandard bit of work you've ever done. You put out a lot of shite before you get good. But letting your standards slip on purpose? That's a flaw. You've got to sort out flaws early, or they'll spread all the way through you. And just like metalwork, everything will seem fine until you're put under some strain. That's when those flaws will break you. Now the thing is, we're all born flawed. Impure, like unsmelted ore. And sometimes we don't get burn at all. Too much spoil mixed in with the ore, and the pure metal goes down to Muradin to sort out. You've heard the skalds say that when the giants slew Muradin, they killed half the dwarven soul, so one babe in two gives up their half soul so another can live? Well, that's poetry, lass, but I've spoken to midwives. If it weren't for all their skills, that number would be a lot lower than half. And in truth, even with it, more than half of dwarves miscarry. It's all they can do to stop poor mothers dying in childbirth. I was lucky. I was the third child of 8 pregnancies. My ma died trying to bring out the fourth, and him with her. As I say, life's precious. Which is why perfection's important. Perfection in your craft hones perfection in your soul. It focuses you, smooths out the flaws, makes you a better person. It makes you capable of things some folk think impossible. That drive for perfection, that's why, for all that they've taken apart our wands and staves, our special crafts, humans can't replicate our work. They can't understand the sheer purity it takes to draw magic into cold substance rather than warm minds. Both purity of craft and purity of materials. Now, living things, especially thinking things, have a natural bent towards drawing mana from the ether. Most of them, like a salamander's flame or a troll's regeneration, were forged into their blood by the gods in some earlier age. Products of instinct. Now, others, like humans and their mages, have an unformed ability that can be trained to shape spells, but they still benefit from the natural draw of mana from the ether in nice discrete measures that they can use to power spells. Cold metal has no such luck. Now, antimony can draw mana from the ether, but it can't hold it. Tantalum can hold it, but it can't shape it. Molybdenum, amongst others, can shape it if you know how, but can't draw it. Dwarven craft brings these together to make magic that you can hold in the palm of your hand. But it takes time, skill, and diligence. Antimony draws mana, but the slightest imperfections create irregularities that reduce its output to impractical amounts. Tantalum can store the tiny trickle from antimony, enough to power the effects, but you must know how to build in releases to prevent overcharging and violent discharge. Molybdenum and other effectors can create physical effects, but these are so pure, so elemental in nature, that you must be willing to spend days or weeks carefully building one effect upon the next, ordering the release of power in a specific program, incorporating delays, switches, splits, or what you produce will be meaningless. All of this is work that a mage does half on instinct, but an artisan must painstakingly achieve step by step. Perfection is essential. Anyway, the point I'm making after all of this, lass, is that you fucked up. The antimony you've processed is only 98% pure, or to put it another way, 2% impure. That is a ridiculous flaw. If we try and build a one with that as a core, the mana flow is either going to be non-existent or so irregular it'll cause the tantalum to explode in someone's hand. Melt it down and start the purifying process again. Get it right. Strive for perfection. That's what it means to be a dwarf.